Hello guys, today's topic will be a different one because instead of a sit down video, I'll be walking around while discussing critical things you need to do to prepare for the GKS Scholarship, and that will be the personal statement. It started snowing again. One of the last few snow that I'll be experiencing here, because spring will be starting again in the next few weeks. And I'm walking around Hanyang University, and today, as mentioned earlier, we'll be discussing about the personal statement. So for this video, I'll be sharing with you the thought process I undergone when I was crafting my own personal statement. Although I've not been able to fully disclose everything I wrote in my personal statement, it's more of how the blueprint on how I did it. Like the thought process, how I started things out, how I structured the body, and how I concluded my essay. So for me, personal statement or any application essay is a creative process. So basically, you should have a foundation on how to creatively express through your story. And what I did was to create a mind map. Okay, I learned this on my college days, how to create a mind map. But just to give you an idea, it's like me laying down all the facts related about my life since I was young, my academic years, and even up until my work years. So it's like me opening every page of my life, just determine my experiences. How am I doing so far? All I have learned and all I have achieved. The idea for mind mapping is like you would categorize everything and try to decipher which part would be important for your storytelling. So in my mind mapping, I did it in the chronological order, like based on the first ones I experienced when I was a child, up until my high school, college, and up to the work years. I also tried to categorize them based on, is it a positive thing? Is it a negative thing? Is it an opportunity for me? So alongside with the mind mapping, I also did a SWOT analysis of myself. So business people would be able to relate on this because they do a lot of SWOT analysis. And with that, you are trying to assess your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So for me, I tried to assess myself on the following situations. When I was in elementary school, high school, college, were there signs of me showing my strengths, my leadership skills, my interpersonal skills, my independence? Were there instances wherein my weaknesses, such as being like stubborn, lazy, sometimes hot-headed, manifests? And were there instances wherein there are opportunities I missed and opportunities I grabbed? And the threats, were there like restrictions that that prevented me from pursuing other stuff? So it's like you trying to really dig deep on yourself, not just on what you currently have, but what you have experienced before. So that's how you do the mind mapping for me, especially for this specific essay, because that would be the foundation of how I will write the entirety of the essay. Okay, we now have a mind map of everything we've been through. All the experiences, the learnings, the missed opportunities, the triumphs, the awards, everything we had. Now, what we have to do is to determine a central theme that is manifested among all these stages. What I meant with the central theme, or the core, or the core of the essay, is that you'll try to establish one event, one scenario, one instance, one feeling, one emotion that would run across your essay. What do I mean by this? So I'll be giving you some tips on this based on how I wrote my essay, right? So for my case, my central theme when I was writing my essay was the idea of being curious. Because throughout my mind mapping, I was able to identify to myself that in each stage of my life, there is a curiosity in me that runs through my mind. Each stage, there's instance that I would question things. I would ask why, how these things happened. And although that's vague when I was still in the mind mapping, when I tried to stitch things together, it actually made sense that in every stage, my curiosity is one of the things that is being highlighted. Hence the reason why I chose that as the central theme of my essays. So there are people who sought assistance from me in terms of reviewing their essays, like trying to read through their essays. And although I'm not like a graduate of Bachelor of Arts in English or Linguistics, I have some fair share of instances where I was able to write essays when I was in college. And for me, what I've noticed among all those who succeeded and got the scholarship was they follow the same thing. There is one central theme that is being shown and evident in their essay. What I mean with the theme is that, like what I did, in every portion of my essay, curiosity can be felt. The idea of finding answers to the questions is being emphasized. And it actually is the one that tied my essay together. If you're going to be reading through start to finish, that's one thing that would stand out. Hopefully that's making sense in terms of making a central theme. And the good thing about how I did it was that it was based on my mind mapping. So that's how important mind mapping is. It's you understanding yourself and trying to get a central thought, central emotion, central event that could run across the whole essay. Now that we have established the central thought in our mind map, it's now time to start writing our introduction. See, that's how I did my essay. I really put effort on establishing my mind map and then identifying a central theme so that my writing would be extra easier compared to like starting from scratch, just thinking it without any actual bits and pieces of information about your life laid down in front of you. That would be easier for me. It became easier for me because I have references. So when starting the essay, I immediately start with the foundation of my central theme. I immediately wrote that since I was young, I have this hunger, this curiosity to always find answers to my hows and whys. Like everything I try to question. And that simple statement is actually a way for me to establish that this will be my central theme. Because when the reader sees it, okay, this person is someone who asks questions, who is like curious about stuff, who would not settle just knowing things. He wants to gain deeper understanding of stuff. And that's a good thing if you are in the perspective of this scholarship, because they don't want you just to settle with what you have. They want you to learn more, explore, and dig deeper in your chosen field. Who also got the scholarship started with an event or a scenario. Some would even start with a quote. These things are like common writing practices, but are still effective in terms of establishing the core or the direction of your essay. So for the idea of establishing or putting an experience, it actually makes the essay more personal in a way, because you really experience that scenario, and you sharing that to the reviewer, you're giving a piece of yourself to them. And that's the essence of the personal statement. You give pieces of information about yourself to the reviewer so that they'll get to know you more. And for example, you experienced issues or challenges, you made choices in the past that affected your life, you can put that as the central theme, especially if that decision changed the course of direction of your life. Meant to be extremely long, and the purpose of introduction is just to introduce your essay and then establish the central theme. If you're able to write just 1 to 2 sentences but you achieve that goal, that's enough. You can move on with the body of the essay. And this is where the meat of your arguments would be. Just remember that the tone of your essay was to humbly brag about your achievements and make them believe that you are prepared and ready to take on this journey. Because in the end of the day, if that message won't come across to them, it will not be still an effective personal statement. I'm going back to my essay. Since I used the mind map, I was able to sequence things up. That's what I did. I followed that in my essay, starting from the childhood, which was the foundation of my essay, being curious, and then moved on the opportunities I had in college that really made me appreciate business, because I'm taking MBA here. So it's like how these experiences, these events piqued my interest more, made me more curious about business, hence the need for me to have an MBA here in South Korea. It's like all the experiences leading up to this inevitable step of going to South Korea, studying here, and enjoying the experiences, the culture, and the learnings under the Global Korea School. Changes for this year was that applicants are allowed to write until 2 pages. Imagine how difficult it is for us back then to write everything in 1 page. Even if you have a lot of things to discuss, a lot of things to say, you're limited with a 1 page. But now you have 2 pages. That's why the mind mapping would be critical, so that you will have a flow for your essay in terms of fluidity. At the same time, you have the content, because the mind map would provide you all the contents you need to write the essay. I use curiosity as my center theme. I'm just made sure that each paragraph has an impression to the reviewer that I found ways, I did some activities, or found ways in order for me to actually seek answers to these questions. For example, one mistake some people do in writing the body of the essay is that they put a lot of achievements to it. Like every achievement they had from elementary, high school, college, even at work, they put it in the personal statement. For me, it is too much if you put at least 10 or 5, even 5 achievements would be too much. For the idea that these achievements, award certificates, are already shared to the reviewer through the awards and certificates that you'll send. It is important for you to actually choose the awards or certificates that are actually worth noting. That's why, again, I keep on going back to this, the mind mapping, because that is really helpful in making you identify, 1, the central thought of the essay, 2, central critical events in your essay, 3, critical awards that you'll put in your essay. Because, for example, if you will put all your awards in the essay, all the things they'll do, all the reviewers would just see is that, okay, you have awards, but how about the people skills? How you related with others, how you survived different challenges, were there instances wherein your critical thinking skills were challenged? Did you ever had mistakes in your life that changed the direction of your life? those things actually have weight in terms of how they would assess you. Because I mentioned this in my previous essays, in very previous videos, you're expected to be good, you're expected to achieve a lot. Before you apply here, you must at least be academically above average or gifted, or not necessarily gifted, but at least you perform well academically. And just highlighting your awards is not that enough for them to be pleased that this person will survive here. Because aside from the knowing you on the personal level, they also want you to share information, instances about life that wherein you persevered, you triumphed, because this journey is not simple. I can attest to that this journey is one of the hardest choices that you'll be ever experience and make in your life. Because living outside your comfort zone in another country, using a different language, not understanding much on the first few months, would be like pulling a person out of the comfort zone. And it was difficult, but they need to make sure that you will survive. And for them, they know it through the essays. Another tip I give to those who write awards and other like critical events in their life: make sure to substantiate. Provide substance to what you're saying. For example, you won first place in a national competition in the Philippines or in your country. Instead of just saying, I won first place in this competition in this year, you can actually say, I won first place in this competition among the 700 students who joined the competition. I won first place. And then share some information of what you learned on that experience. For example, aside from just showcasing your skills, you're able to attest to yourself that you're actually confident enough to present, or actually courageous enough to join these competitions. You can also say things that, aside from gaining the award, I also gained friends, connections, networks, because I was able to communicate and create connections with these people from all over my country. And that would be far better than just saying you won first place in this competition at this time, because they need, again, substance. And it makes you, in a sense, more human. Because the thing with essays is that sometimes people became so professional writing it, in terms of writing it, that the human side of it doesn't show. Let's all be mindful that this is still a personal statement, and though it is like on the academic side, because it's a scholarship, creativity plays a very critical role, as well as the human side of it. So as much as you want to sound it professional, still put some human emotions, as well as, humanity in it. Okay, now I'll be sharing with you how important it is to have the fully established central theme or core for the essay. For me, that was the most important thing I did, because it helped me answer the 4 questions laid down for the personal statement. My personal life, and that's actually anchored towards the idea that I am a curious person, but as well as the other questions about why Korea, why why Hanyang University, and why the GKS Scholarship. So for example, the question why Korea, right? Korea is a country that really puts emphasis on education, quality education, as well as opportunities for people who really wants to study. And for me, as I aspire to answer all my questions, seek more answers to my questions, Korea will be the best location for me to do that. It provides a conducive environment for learning, opportunities for me to grow and be better. For this part, I just made sure that after reading the essay, they are convinced that Korea is the best fit for me. Because again, Korea has the opportunities that I can get, can give me the answers to the questions I asked, and make me more interested to be more curious, even to expand my knowledge to the field I've chosen, which is business, specifically sustainable business. So again, curiosity is still there. The idea of me asking questions is still there, and you're now getting the sense that central theme, the core of an essay, should really be evident across the structures of your essays. So again, after the why Korea, now why Hanyang University. Hanyang is a university in South Korea that really is into development, into discoveries, innovation, and attaching it to the idea of curiosity is actually easy, because innovations usually starts from the questions: how, why, who, what. These things really sparked new things, and that was easier for me to do. I just stated that through Hanyang University's curriculum programs, specifically on business and startup businesses, this is the best opportunity for me. Throughout the program, I'll be able to learn how to manage things, the questions on how to create sustainable businesses, international practices will be given to me when I take this course. Hence, there is a necessity for me to enroll to Hanyang University and get the education. Again, the central theme was curiosity, yet I was able to attach it to the question why Hanyang University. And lastly, about why GKS Scholarship. So, why GKS? It's starting to rain, had to snow again. Okay, this would be one of the critical questions that you need to answer, but actually one of the most complex in terms of how you would answer it. I just made the reviewer accept the fact that GKS is not an option for me. It is a necessity. I need GKS. I need to go to South Korea. I need to study in Hanyang University and get a degree here. I need to experience the culture, the learnings, to build network here. And for me to do that, I need the scholarship. It's like, it's not, I said it up front that this is a do or die thing for me. I just said it that all the things I did in the past lead to this moment. Me applying to GKS, getting the scholarship, and expanding my horizon. So that would be how you'd convince them. So in addition to that, I stated that GKS is what can bridge the gap between the current self, my current life, to and the life I envision myself to be in, the future self. So this is the gap: lack of education, lack of opportunities, lack of networks, and GKS would be the one that would give me better opportunities, better education, and international network. And it's like making them realize that, again, GKS is the inevitable step for me to succeed in this life, and it's up to them. They will grant me this scholarship. Okay, now we're on the last part of the essay, the closing. And how you close an essay is something that is important, because it should be something memorable, yet it summarizes everything. And how I ended my essay was actually linked to how I wrote my why GKS portion and answer. It's just that everything, in summary, this is me as a person. These are my experiences. These are the things I've learned. This is me. And I actually want to be someone who's better, who's capable of helping other people, who's mature, who's wise. And I need the GKS Scholarship. It's the inevitable step. It's the next step. And for me to get the person I want to be, I have to get this scholarship. And that's how I wrote my closing. It's just me summarizing everything I've said and then making them appreciate me as a person, and then making them appreciate my potential as a person. That, yeah, I want them to have the idea that, okay, this person is a good person, but if he wants to be better, we have to give him the scholarship. It's like, that's the impression I want them to have. And fortunately, I think they had that impression on me, that they gave me the scholarship by sharing some additional tips, especially on the revision portion. Since I started writing an essay like 6 months before the deadline, I had plenty of time to revise my essays. And one of the worst things I did was actually look at it every day and try to find fault at it every day. That's bad, but I learned from it. It's bad in a way that you try to edit or make it better on a daily perspective without giving yourself a time to actually recover or like have the fresh eyes. Because when you try to edit it every day, it's just you're using the same lens, same perspective, and nothing would happen, nothing would change. So instead of like doing every day, try skipping 2 days or 3 days, or going out somewhere, refresh your mind, and then edit or revise. With that, you have a fresher perspective, newer ideas, newer things to add, edit, remove, anything. Just make sure not to do it on a daily basis. Aside from that, I also tried to seek assistance from other people from different backgrounds, different personalities, different skills, with the goal of me gauging the level of how easy for my essays to be understood. So what I mean by different level, I ask high schoolers, college students, professors, my friends who are already graduates, my previous passers, to take a look at my essay. Were my points easily understood? Were my arguments succinct? Is it fluid in terms of transition? Or you didn't understand a thing? Because if a high schooler won't be able to understand anything about what I wrote, like even a hint of who I am, that's bad. It means what I wrote there is nothing. At the end of the day, they must have at least gained a knowledge of who I am. Like, oh, you're a curious person. Like, they would understand, oh, you're a curious person. With them understanding that I'm a curious person means the core of my essay is easily understood. And that's a good thing. Because that's actually that's the role of the core or the theme of the essay, to have it be understood easily and have it run across the essay. So if a high schooler was able to understand it, most likely academics and reviewers of the essay would be able to understand it. So actually that's how was my thought process when writing this essay. And I hope you were able to see the environment here at Hanyang University while I was doing this vlog. And if you need questions or have questions that need assistance, feel free to message me or contact me through my social media accounts, because if I have a lot of time, I'll be able to help you reviewing those essays, at least give you feedback if I actually understood your essay. And that'll be all. Bye bye.